New York is a very special place for me. It was you guys that really helped push my work out and push out who I was. And so now, globally, people know who I am. So New York and Chicago really helped push out the message as it relates to the war against black children and, of course, the good gospel of Garveyism. First thing I want to talk about today is a project that many of you have heard me speak about over the years. As Pan-Africanists, repatriation is a very serious concept for us. However, in the post-Marcus Garvey era, and Marcus Garvey left us in 1940, since his death, Pan-Africanists really have not been pushing the repatriation concept as strongly as Garvey pushed it, nor as strongly as other Pan-Africanists before Marcus Garvey pushed it. We've given up on the concept of repatriation, and we've settled for a very watered down spiritual and psychological repatriation, where you hear Pan-African scholars say, if you can't go back to Africa physically, go back to Africa in your mind. Well, Marcus Garvey would have a problem with that, and I would have a problem with that, because you don't go to the Beyonce concert in your mind. You go to the Beyonce concert in your body. You don't go to the clothing store in your mind. You don't go and get your nails done in your mind. You don't go and buy a new car in your mind. So if you don't have to travel with your imagination to all these other places, why do you have to travel with your imagination back home to Africa? Now, for those of you who don't understand repatriation, let me explain it to you. Because a lot of people think repatriation means that all African people in America are supposed to pack up and move back to Africa. Not only you, but the Africans in Europe are supposed to pack up. The Africans in Central and South America are supposed to pack up. The Africans in the Caribbean are supposed to pack up. The Africans in Australia. Everyone should pack up and go back to the motherland. That is not repatriation. Repatriation is scientific and it is strategic. And as His Excellency Marcus Messiah Garvey spoke of it, repatriation is only for those who can give something back to Africa. Only for those who are loyal enough in their Pan-Africanism and in their African ideology to want to go back and do the groundwork. It is not for all Africans. In fact, Mr. Garvey said, quote, "Some of you are no good in America and will likewise be no good in Africa. I have no intention of sending every Negro back home." Well, I'm here to tell you, 80 years after Garvey, I am also not interested in sending every one of you back home. Could you imagine what it would look like if 40 million black folks showed up in Nigeria, or showed up in Ghana, or showed up in Ethiopia, or showed up in Tanzania, or showed up in South Africa, or the Congo, 40 million deep, getting off Noah's Ark, not with 2 giraffes, but 2 white girls on your arm. Not with 2 lions, but a basketball and a football under each arm. Not with 2 chimpanzees, but with a bottle of relaxer and a bottle of blonde hair color under each arm. The point is, repatriation is not a utopic ideal. So then what is it, Dr. Umar? Repatriation is based on the premise that as Africa goes, so goes all of Africa's children. That means what? That means that until Africa is strong, you can never be. If you want to know why we haven't gone further in our civil rights struggle, if you want to know why we're still being murdered by police, if you want to know why you've never gotten a share of America's wealth, look no further than the condition of your mother continent. I need y'all to quiet down. Her treatment and her level of respect reflects upon you. And your problem as African Americans is you keep on trying to escape Africa's shadow. You keep on trying to separate yourself from your race, thinking that if I identify as an American, maybe I'll be treated as one. We do the same thing in the UK. We do the same thing in the Caribbean. We do it in Asia and Australia, trying to run away from being black. Thinking that if we come up with a new ideology, if we come up with a new identity, white folks will accept us. Your destiny is tied up in the destiny of Africa. Marcus Garvey said, strong people are strong everywhere. In other words, Chinese kids belong to gangs just like yours. There are Asian gangs in this country more violent than the Crips and Bloods have ever been. But they don't get killed by police. There are East Indian gangs in America, but those kids don't get killed by police. There's Native American gangs in America. Those children don't get murdered by police. So what is it about you? What makes you unique in the rainbow of multiculturalism is that you're the only non-white people in America for whom the country has no regard whatsoever for how it treats you. Because they know there's no country and there's no continent coming to argue in your defense. You are by yourself. And you are by yourself because you choose to be, not because you have to be. You've taken that African umbilical cord. You've detached it. You said we don't want to be identified with that continent. Treat us as a separate nation within your nation. But the world don't operate like that. Wherever they see a Chinese are going to get respect because China gets it. Wherever they see an East Indians are going to get respect because East India gets it. Wherever they see Arabs are going to get respect despite the so-called war on terror, because there's countries in the so-called Middle East that will not allow members of their race to be disrespected in another country. So if you think you're going to get some progress without seeing to it that Africa gets some progress, you're living in a dream world. Repatriation says some of you got to go back. Some of you engineers, some of you doctors, some of you educators, some of you business experts got to go back and work from the other side of the Atlantic Ocean to improve the status of our mother, Africa, so she can become strong enough to do what? Look out for us. We don't all have to go back to Africa. No one ever argued, no Pan-Africanist ever argued for a wholesale deportation of blacks from the West. Never. They said some. And if some go and do their job correctly, the rest of you can live in peace because America will now know we can't kill them off on the streets no more. Because Zimbabwe said if we do, don't come looking for no more diamonds. We can't kill them off in the streets no more. Because Nigeria said the next time a black boy dies, don't come looking for no oil. We can't kill him off in the streets no more. Because the Democratic Republic of the Congo said the next time a black mother loses a baby prematurely on the birthing table, don't come looking for no Cotan, no more cell phones for you. You need that protection. Repatriation says some of us go back to build up the continent so she can look out for us wherever we are. We have a right to live anywhere in the world. Pan-Africanism doesn't say we all got to be in Africa, but we must all be for Africa. Not all Chinese live in China, but every Chinaman is for China. Not all Italians live in Italy, but every one of them. Even Italian children who never been back home, they still wave that flag. Because they understand something a lot of you don't understand. The fact that you were not born there has nothing to do whatsoever with the DNA in your body. So in 2017, I'm working on a repatriation project. I want you to hear me well, because some of you may be interested. There's going to be 2 of them. We're going to spend 8 to 12 weeks in East Africa. And then we're going to spend 8 to 12 weeks in West Africa. You can sign up for one, or you can sign up for both. That's up to you. In order to go, you will be interviewed and evaluated and investigated, because I can't afford to let one Negro infect the group that we're taking back home. Do you understand? You got to be careful with us. You'll try to bring that Jesus picture with you and mess up the whole program, okay? You cannot go with me with your African name if that is not your legal name. If you legally changed it, fine. But some of you, your name is Tyrone Jackson on your paycheck, but you Aunt Patah in my damn face, okay? I want the alias and the real one. And if that's really your real name, why you ain't changed it yet? Don't play with me. I'm not upset if you didn't change your name. I haven't changed mine. I'm just saying, give me the real deal. How do you get paid? That's the name that I want. Okay? We got to investigate you for your sexual orientation. I can't take confused Africans over there. All right? We're going to have to investigate you for your racial, romantic orientation. Brother, you got a white wife? You can't go with me no damn way. So it's going to be a program and a protocol and a process. But if you have 8 to 12 weeks to spend and we're still deciding whether it's going to be 8 or 12, just stay in contact with me. And by the middle of the summer, that whole program will be laid out for you. I'm trying to set it up where you won't even have to pay to stay. You just have to pay for your flight in, your flight out, of course, your cell phone communication, that type of a thing. But living arrangements, we're trying to get that taken care of. Okay? So if you got 2 months, 2 to 3 months, you ever wanted to go to Africa, need a long vacation, brother, you ain't quite got that child support money up, come on with us for 3 months. Can't help you when you get back, though. Elders, you are welcome. College students, you are welcome. But of course, you need to make sure that meshes with your studies. But maybe you can take that time spent in Africa and use it for a project and earn credits while you are there. Okay? So that'll be coming up soon. I'm looking forward to that, because we really don't see Pan-Africanists pushing the repatriation today, which is interesting when you look at the level of oppression that has returned to black folks. Speaking of oppression, your president sent a letter out to every school district in America 2 weeks ago. Obama. Don't get quiet, because 8 years ago, y'all was dancing in the streets. Let's be honest. You was twerking, backsliding, somersaulting. We got Obama, we got Obama. Negroes ran around and said, we have arrived. The president is black. Now look at you 8 years later. Has done absolutely nothing for you or your children. I know he's president of all the people. I understand. But all the people are not gay, but he damn sure looked out for them. I understand he's president of all the people, but everyone in America is not a Latino, but he looked out for them. He's president of all the people, but everyone in America is not a woman, but he damn sure gave white women the Equal Pay Act. So why is it that he got to be president for everybody when it comes to us? But it's okay for him to just be concerned with gay folks sometimes. It's okay for him to just be concerned with Latinos sometimes. It's okay for him to just be concerned with illegal immigrants sometimes. He can pay particular attention to every other non-white community in America, but when it comes to you, you're not allowed to expect anything from him. So Obama sent this letter telling the school districts of America that if you don't want to lose your special ed money, and if you don't want to lose your JROTC money, and if you don't want to lose your No Child Left Behind money, and if you don't want to lose your Title I money, you must allow transgendered children. This is 2 weeks ago. This is new news. You must let transgender students use the bathroom of the gender with which they identify. This is what's going on now. So by the new year in New York City, you're going to have a situation where a boy can go into your daughter's bathroom because he's in the process of changing his gender. You're going to have a situation where girls can go into the boy's bathroom because she's in the process of changing her gender. Now, here's my issue with this. I'm an educator. I'm a school principal. The schools are out of control enough as it is. There's no law and order in the high schools anyway. So how do you add further confusion? By now removing the sign off the door that says girl and the sign off the door that says boy, and replace it with a sign that looks half boy and half girl, which basically says do as you please. Well, guess what, black folks? This is your fault more than Obama's. Because it was we who championed him and his election and stayed loyal, even when he did nothing after the Trayvon Martin verdict. Stayed loyal when he refused to do anything about the systematic police extermination of black folks. You stayed loyal. Somebody said we must protect him because he looks like us. Bill Cosby looked like your ass too. But you ain't rushing to help Bill. You let the bourgeoisie manipulate you and your loyalty into defending Negroes who are pro-status quo. Obama don't care about nobody in this room. But because you suffer from a paralysis of analysis, and because you did not ask critical questions of him 8 years ago, our children will suffer from the aftermath 30, 40 years from now. Let me tell you why Obama was put in office. I want you to be clear. Every president is given a domestic agenda and a foreign agenda. Every president. Regardless if it goes in the White House next year, whether it's Hillary or Trump or whomever, they're going to be given a foreign mandate, a domestic mandate. Obama's foreign mandate was to open up Africa's resources to exploitation again. He did that with AFRICOM. America has recolonized Africa on a level we've never seen before under Obamaism. And our African brothers and sisters are just as brainwashed as you are. I was in Africa on the eve of Obama's first and second election, and I couldn't tell them brothers and sisters nothing. Just like you, they had an Obama psychosis. God sent them, Jesus sent them, Muhammad sent them. So when Obama came to their table, they opened up the resources because his daddy allegedly was an African. That was the foreign mandate. Take back Africa. Guess what the domestic one was? Check this out. 8 years ago, the United States government, Hillary Clinton, because she's a population control junkie, we're going to get to that in a minute, because a lot of y'all pro-Hillary. First of all, I disagree with anybody who creates a dichotomy of any white person or people whatsoever. To paint Trump as the devil means Hillary is an angel. You should not be doing that. You're confusing your children. Hillary is no better than Trump. They are the same when it comes to African people. There's no difference there. The difference is only in your mind. Hillary Clinton is a population control junkie. You think you got abortion now? You've seen nothing. You think you got hysterectomy now? You've seen nothing. Late term termination of life in that third trimester, you've seen nothing. But what they do is they call it women's rights. Because they know some sisters are strung up on this feminist thing. So if we want to get rid of black folks and you want them to get abortions and birth control and Depo-Provera and get their tubes tied and late-term abortion, don't call it population control. Call it women's rights. See, white supremacy operates through the names, the titles. They said power is the ability to do what? What is power? The ability to define reality and make the victims accept your definition. Like you believe you exist in freedom. What the hell is free about you? We're not free. Freedom is the ability to do exactly what white folks do, when they do it, and how they do it, economically and politically. Are you free to buy a home anywhere? Are you free to work wherever you want? Is your child free to go to school wherever you choose? You were never free. You were emancipated. Abraham Lincoln gave you an emancipation. But the 13 colonies declared independence. Why were the colonies independent, but Africans were emancipated? The word emancipation is a business concept that speaks to transfer of ownership. The 13th Amendment was a transfer, a business transaction between the owner and the government. The emancipation means that you no longer own them privately, but the whole country owns these Negroes publicly. Eight years ago, the white man said, we gotta find a way to push homosexuality, and we need to find a way to push the whole LBGT program in the black community to reduce their numbers and brainwash their children. But we have to do it in a way that they would accept. See, they have think tanks. The white man got think tanks. Think when they sit around and strategize, how do we push this on black folks? Because they said black people are largely not a homosexual people. Yeah, they've always had their gays in their family, but they know to stay in their damn place and keep that stuff out the view of the family. Am I wrong? Okay? We've had aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters, but they know you don't come out with that. We understand. But that shit don't see the light of day in this house. Right? That was the code. We used to have a code. So they said, how are we going to get black people to accept wholesale, out in the open, unrestricted homosexuality, unrestricted lesbianism, unrestricted bisexuality and transgenderism when this is not who they are? How are we going to do this? These people are not for that. The black church is not for it. They said, here's what we're going to do. George Bush's second term, we're going to ignore the Constitution that says separation of church and state. And we're going to allow the black church to start receiving federal grant dollars. And once the black church starts receiving shut up money from the government, they will shut up. That's preparation. Then we're going to put Obama in office because Negroes have a self-esteem deficit. so that whenever they see somebody who looks like them, they stop analyzing their agenda and they stay focused on their skin tone. So while black folks are celebrating Obama, paying no attention to his policy, we're going to push the LBGT culture on the black community under the disguise of a black president who's really carrying out a gay agenda. And so the past 8 years, most of you have changed your position on LBGTism purely off of the basis of Obama's influence. Now, let me tell you what's interesting about Obama. His first term of office, he said very clearly at the podium, I believe marriage is between a man and a woman. If you don't believe me, it's on YouTube. Marriage is between a man and a woman. I will not consent to marriage being between anything other. This is Obama running for president, first term. Second term, he becomes the first president in American history to approve same-sex marriage. One was a setup, the other was a takeover. Obama was not put in office to be a reparation to you. He was not put in office because America is post-racial. Obama was put in office to do one thing and one thing only: get you to accept the LBGT takeover of the black civil rights movement. Are you aware that homosexuals have gotten more rights in 4 years than you've gotten in 400 years? Are you aware? And if you LBGT, I'm not beating up on you. I'm doing an analysis. I don't hate our LBGT brothers and sisters. I don't. I'm a therapist. I know how most of them come to that lifestyle. And it's because we don't know how to choose our babysitters very well. Most homosexual men were touched. Most lesbian women were molested. And you do know black women have the highest molestation rate in the Western world. So I can't beat up on the victim. I got to beat up on the system that brings forth dysfunctional behavior. And I don't spend all day dealing with homosexuality because we got a lot of dysfunctional behaviors. That's just one of them. That's just one of them. So whoever comes in office next, you better get ready to boogie because it's going to get worse. But before Obama leaves, he's going to make sure this homosexual thing is thoroughly implanted in your ghetto. Thoroughly implanted. The transgender bathroom thing, which is a disgrace, that's just the first of many that's coming before he walks out of there. He got to finish the job for which he was selected. So that's Obama. Let me move on to you now, parents. Because the school year is coming to a close in New York. And a lot of your children's teachers are going to rush in to try to influence you parents to give them permission to evaluate your children for special education at the last minute. Parents, listen to me. Never, ever, ever in your life give permission for your child to be evaluated for a learning disability at the end of the year. Why not? Because it's the end of the damn year. Your child is going to another grade. Your child will be with another teacher. Your child will be surrounded by different classmates. Your child will be 3 months older when they return to school after the summer break. Why would you put a child in special ed next year for the opinions of a teacher they had last year? It makes no sense. But y'all do it all the time. Well, they just want to see if he needs extra help. Of course they're going to conclude that he needs extra help because the teacher in the classroom don't want to give him the help that he's entitled to. See, let me explain something. Every teacher in New York City, every teacher in the 5 boroughs has a decision to make whenever they encounter an academically deficient student. I'm a 6th grade teacher. I got a kid in front of me. He cannot read on the 6th grade. He's reading on the 3rd grade level. Dr. Johnson has a decision to make. I can either work twice as hard and get him up to grade level because I know he ain't never been taught in the first place. I can work. I could put more on me, or I can go to my principal and say, he needs a tutor. He don't need special ed. Because you can't go to special ed unless you are disabled. Let me say that again. You can only go to special ed if you are disabled. You must be reading disabled, or math disabled, or emotionally disabled, or intellectually disabled, or speech and language disabled. But if you do not have a disability, you should not be in special education. But guess where your child is? With no disability. Drowning in special education jail. Because mommy and daddy took out an ink pen and signed their damn life away and asked no questions. So now your child is in a class receiving special ed. Now here's my question, New York City. Aren't the schools in your city special enough as it is? I mean, the regular kids aren't learning anything. It's already special, but you want more special. So now your son goes into a classroom that's moving at a slower pace than the regular class. Why do you want your son or daughter moving at a slower pace than the regular class? Well, they said it's going to be a smaller class size. Sometimes it is. But the feds relaxed the class size requirement, and now you can have a special ed class that has as many children as the regular class because too many students are being evaluated with disabilities that they do not have. Now listen to me, New York. I'm a school psychologist. I've evaluated thousands of children. I've been expert witness in due process cases. I've helped standardize some of the most popular tests in existence. I'm saying all this not for ego purposes, but some of you are looking at me like I came from another planet. So I need to establish my degree of competency. When we evaluate a child, we give them a math test, reading test, IQ test, adaptive measure, emotional screening, psychological inventory, visual motor screening. And all these tests gives me what? Numbers. The test don't give me a diagnosis, parents. The test gives me numbers. The IQ test don't say your son's retarded. The IQ test says he got a 68 score. And then I interpret the 68 to be indicative of mild mental retardation. The reading test didn't say he had a reading disability. The reading test says he came up with a 79 reading score. And I interpreted your son's 79 to mean he cannot learn without special help. I need y'all to understand the tests don't diagnose nothing. We do. The diagnosis is a professional opinion. That's it. It can be wrong. And when your child is evaluated by somebody who don't look like them, it is likely to be wrong. And that's why even if you want your child tested, you should say, I want a black school psychologist to do this. Why? Because our profession, the profession of psychology, is regulated based upon the ability to build rapport with the client. Did y'all hear that? I cannot test your child until I build a rapport. They have to get comfortable with Dr. Umar as the evaluator. You come to me for therapy. You dealing with cigarette addiction or scandal addiction, whatever your addiction is. I have to build a rapport with you. Empire addiction. I got to build a rapport, which means I got to earn your trust. You got to open up to me. If there's no rapport, the evaluation is irrelevant. Let me say it again. If your child don't have a rapport with the psychologist, if he do not trust them, if she does not trust them, if there's no rapport, the evaluation is irrelevant. Did you hear that? I'm telling you that many of your children do poorly on purpose to get away from the person who giving him the questions. Let me go a step further. 40% of your child's test score is based on the attitude they had when they took it. In other words, Raheem scored below basic, but he all A's in math. Is the teacher exaggerating report card grades? Possibly. But guess what? The teacher may have been honest with your son's scores, but when Raheem took that test, he really wasn't interested in doing his best. It's what I call self-sabotage by black children. It happens all the time when our children sabotage their own performance by not giving a damn about what they're doing. And this is where you come in. You got to motivate your children consistently and understand that you must do well, because although this school system is garbage, it is a prerequisite that you get your diploma in order to make anything out of your life. But the reason a lot of our children are not motivated to do well in school is because you don't motivate them at home to do so. I mean, let's be honest. How many of you actually check your child's homework at night? Let's be honest. And half the people clapping lying. Let's be honest. If I go to your house right now, is there an encyclopedia set, A through Z? Raise your hand if you got a complete set. 1, 2, 3, 4, about a dozen. About a dozen. What's going on with the rest of y'all? Oh, I know you took the encyclopedia money and bought a big screen HD TV flat screen. That's what you did with the encyclopedia money. The TV is bigger than the room it's in. And some of y'all know this because I've been in homes where the TV is so big, they got to tilt the TV so it fit in the room. Ghetto fabulous. Is there a dictionary in your house? And I'm not talking about the small one from the dollar store. A real dictionary, that heavy big boy. Is there a thesaurus in your house? Or is there only the internet? So when your child doesn't know the answer to something or doesn't know how to spell something, you just send them to Google. And they Google everything until they googly-eyed. And now your son and daughter submitting book reports with words in them they can't even spell because you're raising Negroes. In 1808, the United States government outlawed slavery importation. Not slavery, but the importation. 1808. Slavery, the importation, or the system didn't end till 65. In some places longer than that. Can I ask you a question? How did they get more enslaved Africans if they were not allowed to float them in? They moved from an import system to a breeding farm system. They would get 12 black women and 1 black man, and his job was to keep those women pregnant. As soon as she dropped the baby, she healed up, get her pregnant again. It was a baby-making factory in the interests of white supremacy. Well, guess what? Some of you mothers are breeding slaves for the master. Some of you fathers are breeding slaves for the master. Just like they did it 150 years ago. You would make a baby to go serve the master. Some of you making babies to go serve the master by way of incarceration. You mom would just take them to jail soon when you get them out the hospital. Because that's where he going, the way we raising our children. We're not teaching them discipline at all. A lot of our black boys don't have no type of delay of gratification in their personality. Some of you got children who only do something when they feel like it. How many of you got sons and daughters only do something when they feel like it? Do you know what that means? There'll never be nothing. Because in this world, especially in a racist society like America's, You have to develop the ability to delay gratification long enough to do what needs to be done when it has to be done. Because only if you can do what needs to be done when it has to be done, you'll never be in a position to do what you want to do when you want to do it. Discipline. Y'all hear me talk about it all the time. Discipline is divine. God is total discipline. The sun rises every day. The moon shines every night. You get 4 seasons no matter what. 365 quarter days every year. God is disciplined. But does your son have it? Does your daughter have it? But the problem is you cannot teach what you do not have. And many of our children learn to be undisciplined by their undisciplined parents. Three weeks ago, I was in Bucktown, Maryland. Some of you know Bucktown, Maryland, by way of its most famous citizen. Queen Mother Harriet Tubman was born there. I toured Harriet Tubman's birthland for the first time in my life 3 weeks ago. For those of you who take your children on a college tour, they will visit it again with me. Right now, they're building a Harriet Tubman Visitor Center in Bucktown, Maryland. Now, Harriet Tubman died in 1913. Why did it take them 103 years to build a visitor center in Bucktown, Maryland? Is it because white folks finally recognized what Harriet Tubman was? No. It's because that section of Maryland is financially depressed. Wow. And they need to attract some much needed tourism dollars so they can give a much needed jolt to the local economy. And as surely as I'm speaking, how much you want to bet within a year after Harriet Tubman's visitor center opens up, there will be a strip mall across the street with a Walmart, a McDonald's, a nail salon for y'all. And while I'm down there, we're talking about Harriet Tubman being on the $20 bill. That was not done for you. That came from the feminist movement. The feminist white women said we need to have some white women on America's currency. And the powers that be said, if we put a white woman up there, given the fact that it was black folks who made this currency possible, we're going to have to throw them a little token. What can we do to satisfy the Negro when we put all these white women on the money and they would know why none of their people on the money when they made the damn money? So they came to a compromise that let's choose Harriet Tubman. Put her on the front of the 20. But we're going to keep that crackety cracker Andrew Jackson on the back. Which is ironic, right? Because Harriet Tubman fought for freedom and Andrew Jackson was pro-slavery. They will be on the $20 bill, butt to butt and back to back. Let me tell you why they're putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. I need y'all to hear me. Because some of y'all about to have another psychosis like you did with Obama. Okay, so all my schizophrenic Negroes, I need you to listen up. Don't start partying and dancing and backsliding and twerking because Harriet will be on that bill. Listen. White Supremacy 101. Military Science 101. Before you take, you give. Before you commit a crime, you must provide a gift. Give black people one step forward so you can make them go 3 steps backward. The Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill is an illusion of inclusion designed to earn your trust just long enough for them to perfect their African extermination project. In other words, it is a facade, a curtain that we're going to use to shield our extermination campaign against African people. Isn't it interesting? They'll put Harriet on a 20, but do nothing about systematic police extermination. Isn't it interesting? They'll put Harriet on the 20 and do nothing about the mass incarceration of black males. Isn't it interesting? They'll put Harriet on the 20 and do nothing about the miseducation of black school children. So is this really about tribute to black men or women, black people? Not at all. It's just a strategy of great distraction. And you must be careful not to fall for it. In fact, and I don't presume to speak for the ancestor, but if somebody asked Harriet Tubman, would she like to be on a $20 bill? What the hell do you think she would say? And Dr. Umar, how do you know she would not agree? I don't. But I do know this. When the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, Susan B. Anthony asked Harriet Tubman to go with her to the celebration. And Harriet Tubman said, and I'm paraphrasing, "You must be out of your damn mind if you think I'm gonna go and celebrate the Emancipation Proclamation. If you don't believe me, do your research." She said, "I live in Maryland. Maryland is a border state, just like Kentucky. And in Maryland, slavery is still legal because the Emancipation Proclamation does not cover slave states in the Union." She said it is pure hypocrisy. You can go by your damn self. So if she would say that to the Emancipation celebration with Abe Lincoln, imagine what she'll say to the U.S. Treasury about a dirty $20 bill. Three days ago, I woke up to an article talking about AIDS in Atlanta. They said Atlanta has the largest black AIDS population in the United States. Now, isn't this the city when we were in college, we were encouraged to move to Atlanta? Atlanta booming for black folks. Get on down there. It's opportunity. You know what all that was about? That was a damn guinea pig experiment. They wanted to get as many black folks in Atlanta as they could. So the Center for Disease Control, which is located in Atlanta. Let me say it again. Center for Disease Control is located in Atlanta. Do you want me to believe that that is a coincidence? That the largest black AIDS population in the country is in the same city with the center that spreads diseases all across the world? According to the CDC, half of all gay black men will develop AIDS in their life. I'm gonna say it again. Half of all gay black men will develop AIDS in their life. I'm not against homosexuality because I hate black men. We don't need another brother dead. That's why we against it. They put the virus within the homosexual population. When you do your AIDS research, you will find that the homosexual population was the main one used to test the new virus that was paid for by the Rockefeller Foundation. The same Rockefeller Foundation that created the World Population Council. The same Rockefeller Foundation that Bill Gates and Melinda Gates are working with in Africa. You really think they in Africa giving out vaccinations to help black people live longer? You believe that? If there's anyone in there who believes that what Bill and Melinda Gates are doing in Africa is being done for benevolent reasons, raise your hand. There's always a coon or two. Raise your hand. Now listen, I'm gonna put y'all on the spot though. Nobody raised their hand. That means everyone in here unanimously believes that Bill and Melinda Gates are spreading viruses in Africa under the disguise of healthcare. If you believe that, New York City, if you believe that what they are doing is a fraud and a conspiracy and a mockery of African life, then why in the hell are you letting your own children get immunized? Answer that. If they using immunizations to serve a negative end in Africa, wouldn't that also mean that they're using immunizations in America to serve a negative end? How many shots is your child supposed to get from the time that they're born until they complete the entire shot schedule?
0.
It's over 87 shots. In some states, it's as high as 150 different shots from the time you're born until you complete them. And you wonder why black folks is crazy as hell. You got measles shot, pork chop shot, watermelon shot, swine flu, bird flu, H1N1, and now they got Zika. That ain't nothing but Shanika disease. Stop laughing, you know it's true. Now listen, New York. You don't have to immunize your child to go to school. There's 3 exemptions. There's a religious exemption, there's a philosophical exemption, and then there is a medical exemption. California, Mississippi, and West Virginia only accept medical exemption. 19 other states accept a philosophical exemption. If you live in a state that has a philosophical exemption, all you have to do is say, listen, I'm a conscious community intellectual masturbator, Dusty Hotepper, and I don't believe in shots. And you sign it and give it to the school nurse, and your child can go on. Ancestors. And then you have the religious exemption. Some states have a religious exemption. New York City and New Jersey, you guys are kind of unique. Because in New York and New Jersey, for your religious exemption, they have what's called a sincerity test. They don't trust liberals. So after you tell them you practice voodoo, they're going to put you in the room with a whole bunch of white folks who are going to interrogate you on your voodoo to see if you really practice voodoo. And when they find out you're born again Christian, there will be no exemption for you. So that means if you want to use religion in New York and New Jersey, you better make sure you can defend and dot your I and cross your T. You can't walk up there and say, I'm a Muslim, I don't do shots. When all the other Muslim kids are shot the hell up. You can't walk in there and say, I'm a Jehovah's Witness, if the other Jehovah's Witness kids have shot. You got to find a religion that nobody never heard of. Find something from 100 years ago, you'd be the only person in New York. Jackie, wait till they come to me for my shows. I'm going to bring my whole shrine in the damn sincerity test. I'm going to have skeletons, bones, shea butter, hot drink, and say I'm start smudging the whole room. Say you practice fast. Did I pass? He's sincere. But my point is, you have an exemption, and I think in New York you might even have philosophical in addition to religious. Double check it, I'm double checking myself. In New York, you might even get off on the philosophical without the religious. But my point is, they cannot make you immunize your children. And I think y'all need to think twice about immunizing your children because that autism is nothing but immunization. If you don't want to believe me, believe the researchers from the FDA who exposed the research. Congressman Kennedy, one of the Kennedy families, he did a whole expose with the research, not conspiracy, the documents showing that the FDA had knowledge that the immunization had a negative effect on black boys in particular.
all out there? Black boys in particular. Now some of y'all might say, well, why black boys in particular? Because of melanin. A lot of these chemicals interact negatively with your melanin molecule. That's why you get cancers other people don't get, in addition to the fact that they be making them on up. They do research on your melanin. And that's why we need independent schools. Because in independent schools, you can say, everybody need a damn shot, and that's it! Now I gotta say something to my feminist sisters. It's feminist. Racism loves to hide behind other labels. One of the labels is feminism. Another label is LGBTism. Another label is multiculturalism. Let's start with the feminists. Black women. The white woman became a feminist because the white man gave her no freedom. He oppressed her. See, white people don't believe in equality of gender, ever. That's why the church, God is always in me. Never she, nothing feminine in church. Everything is in church. Greco-Roman culture, everything is in me. Roman Catholic Church, why don't the priest get married? Because the woman is believed to be Satan. You made Adam into Adam. You cannot be trusted, you are wicked, you are malicious, you are ill intent, and you must be stopped at all costs. That's why they had 7 witch trials. Any woman who claims to have a special spiritual ability, you can see stuff in ancestors, oh hell no, you get burned. They do not do women. They are anti-women. Homosexuality grew out of the anti-women movement. Oh yeah. Oh yes. That's why the Roman Catholic Church, you don't get married, but it's okay to play with little boys and don't even go to jail. You understand? Boys are all right, but women are no good. And that's the truth. Because they believe that the woman is no good, it's better for a man who's a God to make with another God than be with a woman. Oh, this is the philosophy. That's why Alexander was homosexual. Napoleon, Julius Caesar was homosexual. Plato, Aristotle, Epictetus, in fact, maybe one who was not. In fact, there's a theory that says one of the reasons that none of the Greco-Roman philosophers ever finished their education and did it at the University of the Mystery Systems. Remember, Socrates finished. According to Dr. Ben, rest in peace, Socrates, I believe it was, finished the Mystery Systems University. Remember, Jesus started, allegedly he never finished. Moses never finished. Socrates is the only one. The rumor says the reason why none of the Greco-Roman philosophers who came to Africa finished the mystery system is because they were not allowed to go habitate with men during their years. Did you hear what I said? They did not have sex with men in Africa, so they went home. But you don't get it because you love white folks. Yes. You are shocked of white. Black people absolutely are enamored with races. What's the first thing that happens when you go to a black meeting and a white person? Haven't every last one of you had the experience of seeing a Negro go crazy at the sight of an all-black meeting with a white person? Yeah. How often have you had, why are we the only ones here? Have you ever heard the Chinese say, why are we the only ones here? Have you ever had the European Jews say, why are we the only one here? Because the white man was gave them double consciousness. You are half African and half European. You are both. In fact, in the area in Mexico, you should go Mexican. Because you got this ability. You got this ability to be a slave, and then you can flip it and be slave master. that you ain't never been 100% one of them. And W.E.B. Du Bois, if you don't believe, read Soul's Life. He talked about the double consciousness of the Negro, constantly being at war with your white side, fighting with your African side. See, when we talk about post-traumatic slavery disease, that's what we talk about. You ain't never been whole. The word schizophrenia comes from the word schiz. But you ever see somebody schiz? Schiz! That means split in half. Schizophrenics have double consciousness. They regular mind and they schizophrenic mind. You have a double consciousness. Your Negro mind and your European. And some of y'all think that if you become all European, you be better. In fact, why do we start getting to college? We start getting to college to become that better European. Yes, most of you here with your master's degrees, why did you get them? Not because you wanted more education. They didn't teach you nothing. It's so you can more effectively appropriate and approximate the European cultural ideal. You can't trust college and get Negroes with one master's degree. Anytime I get Negroes up, I watch you for 5 years, I'm looking down. How many masters do you have? Because if you got more than one master's degree, I don't trust you. Because when you go to college, see what's this one? The white man set up this whole educational system to filter out the Negroes he can use and the ones he can't. So if you make it that far, they saw something in you that was non-real to their paradigm. I'm not saying everybody. I was one of the house Negroes who just broke through. Some of y'all broke through. But it ain't too many of you broke. Some of you got broke instead of broken through. And if they got a doctor, they go with a doctor, damn, that'll take a blood test. Listen, one of the biggest mistakes we make in the black community is thinking the college-educated Negro is going to deliver us from Satan. Do you realize the college-educated Negro went to college to join Satan? Negro with a doctor. He ain't gonna fight for you in New York. And what's the first thing you do when somebody thinks about doctors? Let's go find out about scholars. Negro with a doctor working in the white college. He's gonna help us. This is what y'all do. Here's how learning thing. Do you realize that being learned and being loyal are two different things? In fact, there's some of you can have an ex-offender conference. I'm gonna have an ex-offender conference. I want to work with all our people coming out of prison and returning citizens. Because they got guts, they got nothing to lose, they've been locked up, they're not scared of nothing. You got the bills, only 1 year paid, you live in a house you can barely afford, Louis bags, Air Jordan, you ain't trying to fight, you just want to look fine. That's all I'm doing with you. And then y'all keep sending y'all kids to college for what? Only that college in black folks is dead. How many of y'all here with college is more like 20, 40, 60,000 hours? You go to your job and right and say you ain't qualified enough. You go back to the masters, ain't qualified, second that, still ain't qualified. Dang! You go back and get a doctorate and come back, first you was underqualified, now you're qualified. How many of us can think of that? I done picked up $100,000 loans for this job. I done maxed out my bell, my bill. I didn't even get to the next marijuana loan shark to pay this bill. And you still white man send your kids to college and send his to Wall Street. White man send your kids to college and his to real estate school. White man send your kids to college and his kids go to the trade school. Oh yeah. While you studying Big Beth, that boy done picked up, he done picked up an electrician license, a plumber license, a carpenter license. By the time you get your master's and get a degree in Black urban studies. What the hell job is waiting for a master of ghetto science? Listen, parents, because this is your money. The average university offers 120 degree programs, right? They got 5 pages. Can you get 20? Of that 120, only 30 are well up there. You have to choose with your children. You don't let them choose because what the university does is they are a business. Is they will direct your child into a major they're not even interested in because they're not getting enough applicants for that major, which means they're not getting enough money. You thought your son was going to college to study accounting. He came back with a bachelor's in 18th century medieval European art. That's game like statues. Oh, and speaking of colleges, you know all of me in college now, as we speak to HBCUs. I love Howard is the black man. I'll be in DC next week. Hopefully some of y'all come to the parent conference and talk about that in a minute. But Howard has more black students than any HBCU. And more international students than any HBCU. And for what I'm hearing in DC, that there's a plan to quietly turn Howard into a predominantly white institution, but continue to call it an HBCU. Yes! Yes! Which is why when the football players stood up in rebellion at Missouri, I celebrated that. We got college students fighting against racism. We ain't seen this since the 60s. H.Rap Brown is so from I remember Simmons. And Freedom Riders. You ain't seen no black college students rise up like they did a few months ago. Notice it's all on that. Appreciated it, but it still had contradiction. Why are you fighting white folks? They gave me $30,000 of their student loan money. When Elizabeth City State might not see another year because they under-enrolled our black students. Cheney University might not see another year. Lincoln, Wilberforce, Central State. Look at all these black colleges suffering because black students don't want to go. And instead of taking your money to an HBCU, you are the fight with PWI, teach you that. You know why? I've already told you. You're never going to go for life to be accepted by white folks. That's why they stay in the white school, because they think the white water is better than the black water. The white ice is colder than the black ice. Which is why we say unapologetically African, because I'm tired of Negroes ducking and shoving and job and scared of these people. Go ahead. Why not just African? They can see you African. But they don't know you got no backbone. When Jews say unapologetically Jew, because he's already there. The Chinese is already there. They walk into the room unapologetic. And you walk into the room trying to be so free or whatever. Right. Black people suffer from racial anxiety. When you walk into a room of people who don't look like you don't know how to act. And you try to force yourself to respect yourself by over-identifying with the African culture. Superficial. Yes. That's what we have in the conscious community. Superficial African consciousness. Shea butter, incense, body spray, apple lemon, Kashis from China. If you got a little red light in the ring, you gotta get one from my table when you mess with it. Those are amazing. My queen mother who makes the garden. Like, that's the real deal. Most of your flags came made from Taiwan. Listen, nothing wrong with the outward appearance. I got an adoption. on an internal transformation. The problem with us is we can transform the outside before we transform the inside. Could you imagine putting icing on the cake before it was done? That's what we want to do. We're looking on the outside. Okay, brother. A bunch of convicts running around getting paid in the name of consciousness. We ain't nothing but better than another better church. That's all we know. What are we going more than the church for life? Can somebody tell me? And there's exceptions to every church rule. We're in the church right now. We can't do by having this in here. There's exceptions. But the conscious community will destroy the church, but do nothing to replace the inactivity of the church. We think learning is the goal of consciousness. Learning don't change nothing. Action does. We got brothers and sisters who don't want to be smart. They just want to get more learning. I need that news DVD. Book, I need a pass for that. I'm gonna lock myself in the house this weekend and read 2 books. That ain't no damn struggle. Struggle is an organization. Yes, you must learn. Don't get me wrong. You must learn. Every time I go to the airport, I got 10 books. I don't know where they're out. Pay extra baggage fees for reading information, but the information is to fuel my activity. If it was up to me, you wouldn't be allowed to listen to book like you never on a program that is a consequence. You don't need another teacher. We got enough teachers. Everybody want to be a teacher. They ain't even taught themselves now. They're going to come teach you. So we got to reevaluate and reassess this. I've always taught you something. You evaluate black people on 5 criteria. Dr. Umar or Dr. Umar. What's the 5 criteria that I believe you should evaluate black folks on? Your mother, your brother, your cousin, me, anybody. The first one is committed. How committed are they to improve the predicament of the second one is conscience. How knowledgeable are they about our reality? Because it does count. But then it's courage. How many of them got the guts to say what they say on YouTube and they're over right?
That's right.
YouTube is easy. That ain't nothing but what about face-to-face with the Europeans? What you got to say? See, I'm middle tweets. See, I live mine. Oh yeah, I live mine. I'll change up. But that's because of Umar Johnson everywhere I go. Now Umar Johnson grew up with a little white girl from Randy Jackson. Then when I get to Egypt, I'm a Thai, shea butter, all I'm saying is you gotta do commitment, consciousness, courage, consistency. And consistency is important. Dr. Umar said he against interracial marriage today. What if 5 years later I come back and say, hey, why are you looking so bad? Hey! You see that? You say, damn, I'm trying with this brother. I was riding with his brother. Now he switched his whole game up. How many black leaders we got? All 100 things for years. Switch it up. How many conscious community codes? Talk all this garbage. Let's switch it up. Oh, hey, look, I'm not looking. I just need already. I better study us and study me too. I'm not exempt. I don't mind. Put me to the test. They were going to put me to the test all year. You ain't got one. We graduate school. So if you got asked me the rest, now, brother, you was born Jamaican Day, brother. I said, no, my father changed my name. I know, brother, but we need to go to the You school psychology, we go to school at Military University. Well, we need to see it because we call Negro, I'm dating you. I ain't gonna call me a little my name. We need your principles to be right. We have university. Now, brother, we don't need to produce it. These Negroes want me to break my degrees off my wall. They break into a conscious cipher with GDP niggas that look at my degree. We ain't even got a GED. We ain't even got a GED trying to evaluate a man with 6 So you mean to tell me white folks let me testify in escrow cases? They let me standardize an IQ test? I'm violating thousands of children. I speak at universities more than all your conscious scholars put together. I can probably speak more than all your conscious scholars put together. I speak more internationally than every black scholar in America put together times two. And you don't think they want to do their research on me? Every time I go to a white university, I consider my curriculum biotech. So you can call up Econ, Millersville, and Lehigh and ask them, how the hell did y'all let me out? As we prepare to wrap, a few more things I want to talk about. I want to get back to my feminist piece. Black women, when the white woman fought the white man, she fought the white man because the white man didn't let her wear pants. She fought the white man because the white man told her job was to cook and make kids. She fought the white man because he said she could not vote. She fought the white man because he said she could not go to college. She could not have a business. Her place was in the home. I understood how she fought. But when you say you're a black feminist, which means you're fighting against systematic black male oppression. Systematic black male oppression. Can you please name a system that black men control through which we can oppress you? What black man has ever stopped his wife from being a job? What black man has ever stopped his woman from going to college? What black man has ever stopped his queen from voting? And black woman, what black man has ever told you, you can't wait with Jesus? Ain't nothing better than a black woman in some shit. Are you crazy? It looks like the media right now is black. Talking about some feminism. And then they come with the multiculturalism, talking about we got to blend in with Arabs and East Indians and Native Americans and gay folks. Whoa! I'm not fighting for the right to sleep with a man.
That's right.
No brother in here. Right. Excuse me. Almost no brother in here. Is fighting for the right to sleep with a man. Every brother in here is fighting for the right to be a man to his woman. That's what we fight for. You cannot put me in a category with homosexuals because I built America, they didn't. You can put me in a category with Latinos, I built America, they didn't. You cannot put me in a category with Chinese and Arabs, I built America, they didn't. And for none of those groups was there migration to America forced. For every one of them, they came of their own free will. If the tree was that bad, why the hell do we go that home? And then there's the Achilles heel of the whole system of racism. And that's economic disadvantage. Economic opportunity absence. Our problem is we don't get access to the wealth that we need to finance our reality. What if you could tap into $5 billion? You would have a Walmart too? What if you could tap into $2 billion? You own 10 gas stations too? The problem is when the Chinaman gets to New York, he shows up with a line of credit from the Bank of China. When the Arab gets in, he shows up with a line of credit from the Bank of China. When the East Indians get here, they show up with a line of credit from a native bank, and if they don't have a native bank, they'll get from Wells. They'll get from Chase Manhattan. Not no small business loan, a big business loan. Chinese man got 10 stocking goals, they only live in Brooklyn a week. Abraham got 5 gas stations, only been here 6 months. East Indian got half the hotel. Just got all the plan. It's not that they work hard on you. It's that they get opportunities that we don't get. The economic racism is the real racism, not the civil rights, but the civil rights. The ability to tap into wealth and use it to build and generate for ourselves. That's what we need. Focus on yourself. Don't worry about nobody else. Black people are the only people in the country who don't have a single organization, a single one, whose job is to focus on us alone. Are you aware? The Congressional Black Caucus is for everybody, not you.
Right.
The NAACP is for everybody, not you. The Urban League is for everybody, not you. Even why I'm only concerned about life. I have nothing to do with my children. If I can help my wife, and I do. I like the kids growing up. Their parents will never tell you no. I work with AWAC children. I work with them. Right when you come in the store, I might hold the door for them. Don't ask me for my number. Because you are flat! And I like shade! And you brothers can leave the white one alone? Because they love you up. But from an African cultural beauty standpoint, they're not attractive to me because I look at beauty through the cultural eyes of my own. So anything that don't look like her is unattractive. They're like the Chinese man looks at beauty through the standard of the cultural norm of the Chinese woman. He loves her build. The white man loves the white woman's build. They don't want nothing other than that because this is the norm.
Right.
Black man, she got to become the norm too. And stop telling me you can't help who you fall in love with. I'm so tired of Negroes telling me they cannot help who they fall in love with. Listen, I've been around white women all my life. Still around now. Do they hit on me? Hell no. Which one is better to get than him? Sleep with him, you can conquer the world. But I'm not interested in them because you can only fall in love with the one whose culture you value. If you didn't value white people, you would have never felt that white woman. It was your self-hate. It was your self-hate. And for our biracial brothers and sisters, you African. I don't put you in no different category. Your mama white, your daddy white, you black. Because there ain't no such thing as a 50-50 split. When you take chocolate milk and spill it in vanilla milk, is it still half vanilla? Your ass is African, but you hate that side like Obama does. And you want us to call you biracial because you consider it a status above the rest of us. Anytime you run into a biracial talk about, I'm not black, I'm half, they would have benefited from a privilege. You ain't privileged. Only thing I ask you to be African all day long. And some of y'all would cheat. You would be black at the Umar lecture and biracial with the Jewish grandparents and stuff. I know what I'm talking about. You ever see them with their white baby act like they don't even see you. No, I one more. I'm scared to be black. Which is true for me, but scared to be black. As I wrap up, brothers and sisters. Y'all been hearing me talk about the National Independent Black Parent Association? Well, we will be having our first new chapter conference in Baltimore next week. If any of you are interested, please feel free to come out. It will be at the Downtown Cultural Arts Center or 1 North Howard Street in Baltimore, Friday, 5 until 9. All day Saturday, the 28th. If you can only come on one day, please come Saturday. It's the most important. Sunday will be from 9 to 2 because I have a power lecture in Baltimore Sunday evening from 6 to 9. Also, Sunday morning, you will get a special treat as you will go to the Great Blacks and Wax Museum as a group together. And I will lead you on a tour of the National Great Blacks and Wax Museum. And if you've never had my tour, you'll love it. Okay? And you want to register for that? You go to princeofpanafricanism.eventbrite.com. Prince of Pan-Africanism, with a K.eventbrite.com. 7 committees. Special ed committee, a discipline committee, a policy committee, a social committee, a homeschool committee, a finance committee, and a parent activist. New York is large. That means we need several chapters in each borough. And if any of you are about more than talk, if any of you are more about more than conscious on tap, if any of you are about making significant change, and no change can be more important than working with our parents to help them protect their children. That's right. I hope I see you in Baltimore next week. Also, I'm looking forward to our college tour this summer. Some of you got 11 to 17-year-old boys and girls. June 30th to July 14th will be my 2-week college tour, 14 days and 14 nights. We're going to leave from Newark. Hotel is in Newark. We're then going to go to the Malcolm and Nation Medicine right here in New York, at Auto Malcolm's Mercury. And then we're going to go to the world famous Apollo Fair. Y'all been there when y'all showed that night. Then we want to take them further to the cemetery so we can pull our patients at the grave of Malcolm X and Dr. Houston and Gottman, Paul Robeson, Malcolm, Shabazz, James Baldwin. So many of our ancestors are there. We want to go and pay our respect. Then we're going to go up to New York and visit the Harriet Tubman Grave Museum. And then we're going to go to Frederick Douglass' grave in Rochester, New York. And then we're going to head on down to Delaware State, Oregon State, Copland State, the Great Blacks and Wax Museum, the Reginald F. Lewis Museum, the Baltimore Aquarium. I'm going to take them to Dorney Park and Brady Benches. We want to go to Virginia State, and then we want to visit the Nat Turner Trail, where on August the 21st, my birthday, 1831, Black Nat Turner led the most scary slave owner in American history. His sons and daughters will relive that. On the bus, there will be conscious documentaries and DVDs for them to watch as we travel. And then, in the hotel conference center, there will be seminars on everything from why you can do well in school, decide on whether you should go to college or to trade schools, why you can respect black women, black men, how to start your own business, understand white supremacy, African history and culture. Everything that I can give them in 14 nights, 14 days, that's what I'm going to give them. So if you got a child, you can take that tour with some of you. Your home is off the hook. Try to take it on that trip. And for those of you who've never been to Africa, we're going back for our third African tour. We're going to Senegal and South Africa. July the 24th to August the 9th, 14 days, 14 nights. We're going to go to Gorée Island, Senegal. We're going to go to Nelson Mandela's grave, Shaka Zulu's grave in the museum. The Hackett Peterson Museum in Soweto, many of you are familiar with the Sarah Palin movie, which was based off the 1977 execution by the white South African police of a little black boy during a peaceful protest by our South African brothers and sisters to be taught their schooling in their native language of Xhosa and Zulu, and not the white man's Afrikaans. And then we're going to take you to the Apartheid Museum, so you can see how they lived under apartheid like dogs until the late 90s. And then you're going to meet some South African brothers and sisters who want to tell you point blank that they're not too happy with Nelson Mandela. And then we're going to try to get a people to win while we're over there. Queen Mother women. And then we're going to go down to the diamond mines in Kimberley, South Africa, where Cecil John Rose over 100 years ago cut the press off women and prices off men, the diamond mines, forcing them to work for free. And if you didn't work that enough diamonds, you might not work to see the next day. You want to go there, probably you want to lecture there for the community in Kimberley, and invite them to hear about the tour. And then we're going to go to Cape Town, Robert Island, we're going to take a boat out to the prison, much like Alcatraz or Nelson Mandela and others. Spend a significant portion of their lives. If we're lucky, we'll go to the Stephen Biko Center in Steve Biko grave on the east of South Africa. It's a very large country. So we will be doing some flying, and we will be taking some long buses. If you're up for it, you should come on with us. The good thing about Senegal and South Africa, you do not need any immunizations. You don't need a visa. All you need is a passport. Parents, every Tuesday morning, I host a free Black Parent teleconference. If you ever have any questions about your child, you can call me and get an answer. I'm going to give you the number right now. Here we go. This is for Tuesday morning, 6 a.m. until 8 a.m. every Tuesday. Any question, education, or mental health, you can get a free answer. Here we go. 857-232-0158. 857-232-0158. One more time. 857-232-0158. But you need an access code, which is 870-864-POUND. 870-864-POUND. 870-864. It's free, don't cost you no money, so I don't want to hear about it on my New York brothers and sisters being put in special ed because you didn't know what to do when I just gave you a free number that you can call the day after tomorrow morning and get answers to your problems. Okay? You cannot work for me if you're sexually confused or in love with an alien. Neither one of those are allowed. Your spouse must be African, and your spouse must be of the opposite gender than you are. Okay? This is an unapologetically African institution. Ladies, you don't have to be natural now. But when you come to work in another year or two, you must be natural. No legal term at our school. Okay? As I wrap up, I want to say to you, New York, that I thank you for all the love you've been giving me. It's been quite a roller coaster for me, good and bad, up and down through the years, but in the sweet body, it's been all right. I've been blessed with these year and this time. And when I leave you guys, I go to the Queens, Georgia tomorrow, where I'm going to be hosting a 2-day single black mothers conference. And I'm going to take that on tour. And I'm going to come back to New York and do my 2-day single black mothers conference. And I'm going to take it to other places as well. We're going to talk about the mental health of black women. We're going to talk about how black women can advocate for their child when the father is not around. We're going to talk about black women in their career and their life. We're going to talk about black women in depression because sisters, a lot of you are suffering from depression and silence, and you're afraid to ask for help because you believe to ask for help is to show that you are weak. Because most of you are imprisoned by the Superman notion of being a super black woman that says you are never allowed to need help or helping needs. And as a result of that, so many black women have had nervous breakdowns this year. Suicide for black women has been going up. Alcoholism, crack use. Sisters, you are strong, but you need to recognize when you need to take a break. And that's coming from Paris. Please do that. In conclusion, I want to give you the quote from my ancestor president, who said, "There is no struggle, there is no progress." Those who profess the faith of freedom and deprecate agitation are like men who want crops without blowing up the ground. They want the rain but can't stand the thunder or the lightning on the ocean, but they're scared of the awful roar of its waters. He said the struggle we have might be moral, or it might be physical, or it might be moral or physical, but it must be a struggle. He said, find out what any people will quietly submit to, and you have found the exact measure of injustice that we use. He said, for 20 years, I prayed my knees to God for freedom, but the good Lord gave Frederick for freedom until I got up off my knees and started praying with my feet. He said, if you want respect from white people, why do you look for pity? The man who pities you will never respect you, and the man who respects you has no need for pity. He said, but most of all, please remember that power conceives nothing without the man. It never did and never will. I want to give you a quote from Marcus Garvey, but before I do, I want to ask you that you do something for me. A favor when we're done here today. Those of you who want to get a book sign, we'll take a picture. We're going to do a line here for that. My merchandise is right behind you. Try to buy something on your way out. We got hoodies, t-shirts, DVDs. You do know that half of everything you give you goes back into the struggle. I'm not a hotel hustler. So make sure you get something on the way out. And you're real, wear black and green flag. But I want you to go into the Bible, and I want you to patronize our vendors. Some of them came from other cities. Take them to go food for the queens who got the food out there, the vegan food. We got sisters out there with earrings, people selling soap and even some shea butter. Nothing wrong with it, something about ashy, nothing wrong with it. I want you to stop and buy at least one thing from every vendor if you can. Show them some love. Because you can show Chinese people love and get nothing back. You can show Abraham love and you can get nothing back. You can show these people love and you can get nothing back. Most of our vendors out there are women, mothers, show them some love out of your pocket. Marcus Garvey said, without confidence in yourself, you are twice defeated in the race of life. With confidence, you have won even before you have started. Marcus Garvey was asked, are you an African or are you a Jamaican? And in response to that question, His Excellency Marcus decided, Garvey, whose Earth Day in Jamaica this year will be keynoted by yours truly. Those of you who are Jamaican, who will be celebrating 2016 Garvey Day in Ocho Rios on my birthday, it just so happens, August the 21st. So I will see you in Ocho Rios with them jeans on. Listen! I take it back, they won't run the Facebook page. But listen, I also will be in Savannah, Georgia, June 2nd, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Sunday, June 5th. I will likely be in Knoxville, Tennessee, June the 23rd. I have several graduations I'm speaking at in Philadelphia. I will be in St. Martin, Virgin Islands, next Tuesday, May the 31st. I will be in Austria, Vienna, and Europe the first week of September. I just got invited to Italy, and I'll be in South Africa for a 1-month-long speaking tour in October. And I'm getting ready to go back to London, where I'm only you had not been there for 2 years. So with that in mind, New York City, I want to say thank you for coming out this afternoon. Much love to all of you. Thank you for supporting Dr. Umar.